With the Premier League title and relegation sorted weeks ago, I was praying that the European race would give us some twists and turns, give us the drama we need to stay interested until the end of the season. And every single weekend, it's provided just that. This weekend was no different. 2 games left for everyone. The Champions League spots are right up for grabs. It's hard to call, but one thing that's easy to predict, there's going to be twists and turns between now and the end of the season. I can't wait. But in today's video, let's talk about what we've seen on the pitch over the weekend. We're going to start with someone who was on the pitch but wasn't meant to be. Off to the City ground where it finished Nottingham Forest 2, Leicester City 2. Now, I don't know how you say the owner's name. I'm not even going to try and say the Nottingham Forest owner's name. When I say the owner, you know who I am referring to. Anyway, that was the headline, that was the drama, that's what's taken over. And it's a bit of a shame, really, because the real story coming out of the weekend was Nottingham Forest have qualified for European football. That is a huge success. It may be deemed a bit disappointing considering that they were in the Champions League spots for so long and they've been dropping down bit by bit. But at the start of the season, you told anyone Nottingham Forest will be guaranteed European football with 2 games to go, I think most people would have been surprised. And I think majority, if not all Nottingham Forest fans, would have taken it with both hands. Huge success, massive congratulations to Nuno and his team, because that is tremendous. And it's not over yet. They can still get Champions League football, but this was a blow. The highlight of the actual match itself, though, that cross by Morgan Gibbs-White, just tremendous, absolutely fantastic. Leicester took the lead with Conor Cody. It's just unlucky from Nottingham Forest's standpoint. It takes a deflection, good save by Sells, and Conor Cody's done incredibly well to keep himself onside. On another day, that goal just doesn't happen. Good free kick by Alanga, header by Gibbs-White, but that ball by Morgan Gibbs-White into Chris Wood, it is sensational. It's on the money. When you have a player with the ability like Chris Wood does, when it comes to heading, just get the crosses in, just get it into him, because you know he will score. That's exactly what Morgan Gibbs-White did. Superb ball, great finish by Chris Wood. Now, I didn't see this game. I always like to apply context to the matches I watched in the Premier League this weekend. I watched Wolves against Brighton, Bournemouth against Aston Villa, Man United, West Ham, and then I watched the Liverpool-Arsenal game as well. So that's the 4 90-minute games I've seen, but I've obviously seen the highlights from every other game as well. So if you've watched games this weekend I haven't, please do get involved in the comments below. Give me your thoughts and reviews. It could be about a talking point, it could be about a goal, it could be about a result, a team performance, anything. Give me your thoughts, anything Premier League that's happened from the weekend in the comments below. But obviously the talking point was the owner coming onto the pitch at the end, because when the clips came out, it very much looked, because we didn't have the context, it very much looked like he was just cursing Nuno for dropping 2 points at home to Leicester City, and it is a blow to their Champions League hopes. There's absolutely no getting away from it. But now Nuno's provided the context by saying it was because of the miscommunication between the management team and the medical team over Ironi. The owner's come out and has said that as well. Do you know something? I can be quite cynical. I can sometimes think, yeah, right, okay then. I believe Nuno, because it happened so quickly. The way Nuno explained it, it was almost too quick for it to be a cover-up, if that makes sense. And Nuno didn't look offended. When you saw the conversation happening on the pitch, Nuno wasn't startled or upset or anything. He was just quite resigned and also looked quite disappointed. He looked like he was agreeing with the owner, if anything. But there was a clear miscommunication. You can see it, that gives a thumbs up, does the sub, and then before the full-time whistle goes, you can see Nuno saying to the medical team, but we did that. That means he's okay. I can really think the medical team thought he was going, yeah, I'll sub him, brilliant, and that's happened. A big mistake. Now, whether that had a huge impact on the result or not, I find it hard to believe. Like I said, I didn't watch the game, but there was only a handful of minutes remaining. But what it did do is have a big impact on their ability to try and get that winner. 2 points dropped for Nottingham Forest. It looks like Leicester City fans had fun, which isn't something they've had lots of this season. Anyway, before we move on to next game, which is the Bournemouth Villa one, please do subscribe if you're new to Tartan Geo, and please do drop a like on the video as well by clicking thumbs up. Both things help out this video, helps out this channel, and motivates me to keep creating content. And this week, I think we will do another transfer rumour video. It might involve Man United, and we will also do the European race video as well. Just final predictions, see what everyone's thinking with 2 games to go. But Bournemouth 0, Aston Villa 1. Huge win for Aston Villa. I felt going into this weekend, this was Villa's hardest fixture that they have left, because after this one, they've got Man United and Tottenham Hotspur, 2 teams that don't care anymore, and I think they proved that this weekend as well. So I think Villa, the fixtures have fallen kindly for Aston Villa for the last 2 games. They need to get 6 points here out of those, but they needed to get 3 out of Vitality, and they got it, and they had to work hard for it as well. Fantastic finish by Ollie Watkins. It's such an underrated finish as well, because he means it. He means to get that slightest of touches. He knows he's ran beyond the first post. You get too much contact on that, it's an easy enough save for Kepa and goal. So he knows, just use the pace of the cross, just get something on it just to guide it. It's a sensational finish from Ollie Watkins as far as I'm concerned. Great run, great touch, great goal. Second half, I thought it was a bit naive by Bournemouth, and Areola just kept putting crosses in, and Martinez was catching every single one. The one he didn't get was at the very end because it was so deep, it was beyond his back post, and then Semenyo had that shot, top save by Martinez. Good win from Aston Villa. I thought it was a good game, actually. I enjoyed watching that one. I just felt Bournemouth perhaps could have offered more in the way of trying to break Villa down in the second half, because they had a lot of the ball, Bournemouth, but I thought Martinez had a fairly comfortable evening. But the big talking point is obviously Tyrone Mings and Alex Scott. Now, I think what you have to do to some extent is take away the injury to Scott, because that might alter your thinking. It's hard not to, knowing that he's fractured his jaw and he's had to have surgery and whatever. That makes you think, well, assault almost. I think Mings is a very lucky boy here. I do think he's very lucky. And it is hard. It's really hard to tell if he's done it on purpose or he's trying to protect the ball. I feel like the natural way when you're trying to shield the ball is to lead with your hand. You put your hand up. I don't think Mings done that. Mings put his elbow up. Now, I guess you could say he's still protecting the ball. He just does it differently to how you would do it. But there are some similarities between what Mings done and what Jackson did at St James's Park. They both have a glance. Then they both put their elbow up. Jackson's is different in the sense that he moves in towards Botman. Mings doesn't move. Mings puts his elbow up and stays still, but he knows Alex Scott's coming. I think this is a very difficult call to make for the referee. I had a lot of sympathy when watched it, because I thought this is the type of thing that's very subjective. Offside's is black and white. He's either offside or he's onside. This type of call, I think you could show 20 referees, I say 10, it might be 8 that think red card and 12 think not a red card, and you can flip it. You've got the same that happened in the Bristol City Sheffield United game with Dickie's red card. They're still debating it today. There's still former professional referees saying, nah, that wasn't a red card, and you've got other former professional referees saying it is a red card. They can't agree on that. And I think Tyrone Mings' incident, it just purely comes down to how the referee sees it. My call, it's hard because Mings has got previous. I know some Aston Villa fans watch his channel. I think I'm not trying to dig Mings out as such, but it's not like he's gone throughout his career without being a bit of a naughty boy sometimes. But I do always like to give players the benefit of the doubt in the sense that they didn't mean to injure someone. I appreciate you might think you're sitting on the fence here. It's because I can see both sides, why it is a red and why it's not. I think I would have not sent him off. I would have given him a booking for it. But if he was sent off, I wouldn't say that was a bad decision or anything like that. I think there was a worse decision when it came to a red card this weekend. We'll get on to it in a second, not just yet, because we're going to go to St James's Park as it finished Newcastle United 2, Chelsea 0. That Jackson card is a red card for me. I think the ball's coming, he's looking at Botman. He then moves towards Botman with his elbow up, and I appreciate the argument is he's trying to stand his ground and stuff. I'm not convinced by that. I thought it was a red card, but the story is all about, well, I think there's 2 here. Now, I only seen the first half because then I had to go do work for Hammer's Chat. I had to go do my West Ham channel work. So I've seen the first half. Quite an even half. Newcastle probably just edged it. Great goal by Tonali. Really fantastic finish. And this is why in the modern day, there are a lot of things people like and dislike, including channels like this. But what it does do is allows you to access knowledge from ex-professionals very, very easily. And I wish I could remember which strikers I was listening to on a podcast. And I want to say it might have been Michael Owen, but I'm not 100% sure. Now, put what you think of Owen as a pundit to one side and how he used to throw apples in bins and stuff like that. What we can agree on, I think, is Michael Owen was a fantastic finisher. And I think it might have been him. And he was speaking about how kicking it into the ground is a very underrated finish, and that top quality strikers will do that as a finish. They will put it into the ground so it gives you that little dink. And there was a game not long ago that someone done it, and it was like a top, maybe like Mbappe or someone did that type of finish where they put it into the ground. So what Tonali's done there, I think he means it. I don't think it's a miss kick. I think he means to hit it into the ground and just give it that little bit of lift over the goalkeeper. Fantastic finish, great ball in by Murphy as well. The second goal, luck, but I think Newcastle would have won anyway. Now, the other part of the story here, the one part of the story is that midfield partnership of Tonali and Bruno. They're absolutely sensational. I love watching them two play football. I think that individually, I think they're fantastic, really elegant footballers. But as a partnership, I think they've got a great understanding as well. And when I did my video about Embo the other day, and someone said, oh, Newcastle could have the best front three in the Premier League with Mbeumo, Isak and Gordon. I thought, well, is there any front three to swap it for? And I came to the conclusion the answer was no. And I thought, thinking about their midfield with Bruno and Tonali, my word, I know Joelinton's there as well, but those two are elite midfielders. They're absolutely fantastic. Now, the second part of the story from St James's Park is my opinion. Well, it's other people's opinion. It's just basically what I've heard and read about Chelsea's performance. But a lot of Chelsea fans very impressed by how they played in the second half with 10 men against Newcastle. Now, I've seen the highlights, and certainly they tested Nick Pope. Enzo Fernandez went close. Cucurella went close. Cole Palmer had a shot from distance. Reece James could have maybe done a bit better with his header as well. That's impressive if true. And I'm just going to assume that that's true. Why would they lie? Chelsea need a couple of big performances now to get Champions League football. Newcastle, you'd imagine they'll get Champions League football. I've always thought they would. Big win for them. I think they'll be okay. Tough game coming up. Then the final game of the season. Can't recall who it's against, but I think it's a favourable fixture for them. I'm expecting Newcastle to get Champions League, but big win at St James's Park. Down at St Mary's, Southampton 0, Manchester City 0. Didn't watch the game, seen the highlights, pretty much just Man City, but a very spirited defensive display from Southampton, and one that they enjoyed, their fans enjoyed, and so they should. Do you know what? So they should, because the football police has been out in force with Ruben Diaz. But before we get on to that, well done to Southampton. This is not an easy. This is a Man City team with Everton. Well, it's Everton. They're trying to get. They need the win for Champions League football. So it's not like you're playing a switched off Man City. You're playing an on it Man City right now. To get a point at home against them is no easy feat. So it was a very impressive defensive display. And now, and I know this is, you might think, well, what a sad, pathetic achievement this is. It doesn't really matter. It's relevant. They won't have the worst points record ever in the Premier League equal with Derby County. Derby was 11. They've got 12 now. And I appreciate as a neutral, you might mock it and stuff. And mock away. It's funny. It's fun. But for Southampton, it's possibly quite a nice feeling knowing you're not quite that bad. But Ruben Diaz's comments after the game about how Southampton sat in, they didn't play football, blah, blah, blah. Do one. Absolutely do one. That is football. It's just a different type of football. Football doesn't have to be Pep Guardiola. Some people would argue how Pep plays football isn't football to them. They prefer the heavy metal stuff Jurgen Klopp served up, attacking football. Pep doesn't do that. It's a lot of it is quite sideways and backwards. So who's to decide what football is? Everything is football. Whether it's the most attacking display or the most defensive display, both are how you play football. You've got to be able to switch it up. Now, Ruben Diaz here is just complete arrogant, suggesting Southampton should come out and go toe-to-toe. But we know why he's suggesting that. Because he's failed to win. Well, maybe if he did better with his header, they might have won the game. But I think actually, complain about your forwards. Have a go at them for not being able to break down the Southampton defence that everyone else has been able to break down this season. maybe have a go at your manager, who, in my opinion, got his starting 11 wrong. He needed wide players in that game to stretch it and pull that Southampton defence out of place. It's very congested in the middle of the park. Like, they were almost expecting Southampton to go, oh, go on then, have a shot at our goal. Go on then, Kev. Go on. Here you are. Nah, do one, Ruben. It really wound me up, actually, because had Southampton done what Diaz was wanting, which was step out and go toe-to-toe, Man City would have won a canter. Diaz knows that. Southampton knows that. Everyone knows that. It's just smacks of, like, entitlement and arrogance. And actually, that's the challenge to you as Man City. Find a way of breaking that team down. If you're good enough, you'll manage it. So when I seen the clip going round and I watched it about him complaining about Southampton's style, zero sympathy at all. It made me, if anything, it made me sort of glad Southampton got a point off the back of them. I just don't like it at all. It's very arrogant. The word I keep using, it is very arrogant too, but yeah, to think that a team bottom of the league with 11 points after 35 games should be going out and trying to attack Man City, which costs hundreds of millions to assemble. Anyway, let's go to the Molineux where it finished Wolves 0, Brighton 2. I'm going to have to change my mind on Brighton. I had them on the do not trust list. I might have to move them over to the I'm starting to trust list. Very, very impressive performance. Very, very impressive result. A big result as well for 8th place. It's between them and Brentford now, isn't it? Molineux is a difficult place to go. 6 wins in a row before Man City beat Wolves. Went to the Molineux. Brighton turned up and Brighton were good. Now, Wolves had their chance as well. It was a bloody good game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is why I picked this game. I thought it would be a good game, and I was entertained. Disallowed goal, very harsh, but I think it was offside by Minta. Here's the red card decision I think was wrong in the Premier League this weekend. I think Cunha should have been sent off. Loses the ball to Weaver, then just hacks him down. Absolutely just takes him out. He's there, stood in front of the goalkeeper, Weaver. He's literally one-on-one inside the box because Cunha's lost the ball. He doesn't even look at the ball, don't even try and get the ball, nothing. He's trying to do one thing, which is chop Weaver down. That's it. That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's denying a clear goal-scoring opportunity. That's the last man of defence, and there's no intention of trying to win the ball, so that rules out the double jeopardy. So as far as I'm concerned, that should have been a sending off. I think he's very lucky to have stayed on the pitch. But Brighton went on to win the game, so it didn't have much impact. Anyway, huge win for them. And I have to say, the last few weeks, Weaver's really impressing me. When he first rocked up, I wasn't too sure about him. I've been waiting to sort of form an opinion of him. But I thought he was excellent again on Saturday afternoon as well. So well done, Brighton. Well done, Hurstler. And well done, Danny Welbeck. First time he's got 10 Premier League goals in a season as well, but a huge win for them. Ipswich 0, Brentford 1. This one looked feisty, didn't it? I never expected this one to have much talking points, albeit all the feistiness came from corner kicks. Every corner, grappling, and the referees peeping up and getting involved, and every attacker's looking for a penalty at that point, thinking, hey, this ref's watching, let's dive. And I think defenders are thinking, this ref's letting everything go, let's chuck him on the floor. Truth be told, I think there could have been 2 or 3 pens to each team at corners in this, quite frankly. But it felt like it had a little bit of spice in it. I don't mind it. But that one of the underrated players I spoke about last week, I spoke about, there's more than 3, but I picked out 3. Did I? Maybe it was 4. Enzo Fernandez, someone else, Yuri Tielemans, that's it, and Kevin Shada. That's the 3 underrated players I spoke about because they scored last weekend. Shada got his goal again. Fantastic header, by the way, to get up that high and such a delicate little touch into the far corner. Superb. Really, it looked like a pretty entertaining game, actually. 1-0, huge win for Brentford. Big win for them, actually. Ipswich, I guess it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but it did for Thomas Frank's men. Craven Cottage Store, Fulham 1, Everton 3. This is a bad result for Fulham. Now, this is where highlights can be misleading. I don't know. But it looked like all one-way traffic in the first half until Michaelenko scored just before half-time. Took the lead by Jimenez, but it looked like Pickford really kept kept Everton in it. A couple of decent saves. Top save by Harry Wilson's sort of lob that he tried to do. That is a superb save. But it just looked like Fulham were battering Everton in the first half. Michaelenko gets a lucky goal before half-time. And then it just, Everton go and win. And it feels like it almost sums up Fulham over recent weeks. Capable of quality, but incapable of being consistent over 90 minutes. I think off the top of my head, I think that's 4 defeats from 5 with 1 win, and that win was a late win against Southampton. That's not good enough. 8th place was theirs for the taking, I think. Not anymore. I think they'll do well to finish in the top half of the Premier League, actually. Been a very disappointing end to the season for Fulham, but a big win. Well, I say big win. It's not. It's just a win for Everton, but a good win for them. It's a difficult place to go, Craven Cottage. And Everton had 1 win in 10 going into this weekend, so it was important that they just get 3 points back ahead of the last ever game at Goodison Park next weekend. What an occasion that's going to be at home to Southampton. And I hope they win, Everton. I hope they do win. That's why I'm pleased Southampton got that last point, because I didn't want them to. I never, ever want misery inflicted on a fan. Well, that's a lie. Maybe 1 or 2 teams. I never want misery inflicted on most teams, and that includes Southampton. So I'm pleased they've got away from that record, so it means they can lose next week, so Everton can give Goodison Park the send-off, because I want that to happen. It's a special occasion for the fans. You don't want to go away and you've lost at home to Southampton, do you? That's not how you want to send Goodison Park off. I remember being at the last ever game at Upton Park against Man United when 1-3-2. It wouldn't quite have been the same had we not won, and I think it'll be the same for Everton as well, so I hope they do it. Tottenham 0, Crystal Palace 2. This looked like one-way traffic for 90 minutes. Jesus. I know Spurs have got bigger priorities, but you could at least try. It's just pathetic. It is absolutely pathetic from 20 defeats this season in the league. That is horrendous. Palace won 2-0, and by the looks of it, it could have been 3 or 4. Weird disallowed goal. If he's offside, he's offside against Mateta. But I have a concern, and that is we are now relying on computer-generated images to rule on or offside. It makes me uncomfortable, this semi-automated thing. I am not 100% on board with it yet. Because when I seen a Mateta thing, the graphic, I'm thinking, nah, he can't be offside. Both feet are in his own half. Is he really leaning that far forward? No, if he's offside, he's offside. But there's something about it. It just doesn't sit right with me. Because once Mateta gets the ball, there's like another 2 or 3 passes before it ends up in the back of the net. In the offside rule, I keep on harping on about it and I won't stop. The offside rule was created to prevent goal hanging. I just feel like, I don't know, maybe it needs looked at or something to bring the joy back into football. But two goals by Eze, a comfortable win from Palace, real momentum, confidence, momentum before the FA Cup final this weekend against Manchester City. I'm rooting for Everton at Goodison Park. I'm rooting for Crystal Palace at Wembley. I hope they go on and do it. Good luck to Palace. We'll cover it later on in the week. Man U 0, West Ham 2. It was a nice win. I think we were the better team for 70 minutes or so. Then Man U started to turn it on, but ultimately an easy enough win for us. Our first win, went 8 games without one. Finally got a win. Leapfrog Spurs and Man U in the table. That's always nice, isn't it? Fun. It's a bit of fun. But two decent goals, a really good team goal, and then a nice sort of precise goal for the second one with a little bit of luck, of course. But yeah, good win. Potter needed that. Potter needed that win at Old Trafford. He's got one. First time we've done the double over Man United since 2007, the Carlos Tevez season. And at Anfield, it finished Liverpool 2, Arsenal 2. It was just fun. It was fun. Liverpool dominated the first half, bang, bang, 2 goals in quick succession. I say dominated, you know what I mean, 2-0 up at half-time. Then Arsenal took it back to draw 2-2. I like it. It was fun. Arsenal do need to make sure they get a point somewhere quickly, though. I appreciate the likelihood of them dropping out of the Champions League is incredibly unlikely. Like, I'm sure the supercomputer has a percentage, and I'd be surprised if it's greater than 3%. But you lose against Newcastle in your next game. Obviously, Newcastle will go above them. I think they might start thinking, hang on a minute, we just got to make sure that we do get this wrapped up, because if the results go against them elsewhere this coming weekend, it's almost going to give them a little bit of squeaky bum going into the final game. I think they've got Southampton on the last game, not Newcastle. Someone's playing Southampton anyway, and it might be Arsenal. So I think they'll be fine, but will not just be funny. I think it'll be funny. Anyway, there you go. That's my review of the Premier League. Well done to those that got wins, but especially Newcastle United and Aston Villa, as well as Brighton and Brentford. Huge, huge wins for them, all things considered. Let me know what you thought of the Premier League. Get your comments below. Please do subscribe to Tartan. Drop a like on it, and I'll be back later this week where I think we'll do a video on the European race, and we might do a video on the FA Cup final as well as the Premier League preview as well. Thank you very much for joining me and your support as always. I appreciate you. Catch you in a bit.